Welcome everyone to the stream. Of course, we are in the pre-market here for Monday. Happy Easter to everyone over the weekend. And obviously, we hope you had a good time, whether you celebrated or not, with family and friends. And we're ready to obviously talk about these markets. So the market was much worse before, but it is slightly better now. Let's talk about the current supports. Thank you very much for joining us as well for the open. Let's talk about this level. So 13,000. 900 basically. Let's just call it what it is. 13,900. Basically, we closed there on the previous session. We're now going to come in underneath that. So we're coming in at 13,832. So the best thing to do whenever you're talking about key resistances and supports is to see whether the real market has hit them. And I think this is a really good lesson for everyone, just to understand that when you have fake market futures, that is markets that are not necessarily open during the US, and especially today, very few markets open, that you don't necessarily have a good reading on exactly what Wall Street's going to do. At the moment, we were as low as much lower. Now we've rallied back up, and it looks set like we might even try to open potentially very close to where we closed. So that's going to be certainly pretty big. Let's talk about US 100. Let's look at it. Here we go. So where do we expect it to possibly be into the open? I wouldn't be surprised at all for it to come back up and at least retest last Thursday. Why? Kind of makes sense. Needs to test that level, needs to figure out whether it wants to short or it wants to long. There were some big traps leading into the trade on the Friday session. That is also the Thursday session in this case, which was this little downward trend here. And you can see it just quickly rolled out, didn't close above on any significant time frame, and then busted straight back down. And a lot of the traps were set by the US 500. So let's have a look at the US 500. There it is, that rally early in the session. And if you know how to be reactive to trades, this actually wasn't too bad once the session had opened. So it rallies, it grabs liquidity, something that's very, very common, and then instantly shorts off. And no matter what time frame you looked at this, whether you looked at it on the 15-minute time frame, the 1 hour time frame, the 2 hour time frame, on all of them, the trap was set. This is a very good reactive play. And I encourage people, it's part of the mentoring, something I talk about, to understand that being reactive, that is not being predictive necessarily on what the market is supposedly going to do, but understanding that when something happens, the market is more likely to move in that direction is really important. And this is a classic hunt for liquidity early in the session. And it's not that you're going to get the best price. You don't necessarily know to sell 44.60 on the Thursday session. But once that's closed, once that rejects and it follows through, especially with the new low here, this becomes incredibly sellable. This becomes sellable. And when you see these types of events, it tends to continue on down. So what do we expect leading into this one? Well, as I said, I wouldn't be surprised at all for the market to come back and open around the same price as it closed. Now, if it does do that, what could we be lending ourselves into? Let's go back over here, people. Let's just go have a look. Well, we'll go to the NDX here. There's been times where we sometimes can sit in a range. Now, remember, just because the fake market futures went underneath doesn't mean we went there. So if we open at the same session, could we actually see a rally today? That is a case scenario. We could remained trapped within these two ranges. What do you think though, chat? What do you think? Let's see what everybody says here. Retest and drop, says Gary. Okay, very good. Matt says, I haven't even gone to sleep yet. I hope you're not in the US, Matt. That means that you've been up all night. Does that mean something you've been like trading those fake market futures or you've been worried about them? Hopefully it hasn't been either of those. Remember, also give us a bit of a like if you can, if you enjoy the streams. That does help us. The Gilly Gamer says there's too much uncertainty. So certainly something that is there. Yeah, look, if you're expecting uncertainty or things aren't clear to you, then you either wait to become reactive on the market, where the market kind of tells you its next direction, it becomes clearer to you, or you think outside the box and you say, well, maybe I want to trade something else. And your picks could be something like gold, which we will have a look at very soon. Remember, gold and commodities. specifically metals, commodities in general, have been quite easy trades in comparison to the stock market. The stock hasn't been hard though. At this stage, it's been mostly short. Once you got that lightning bolt, that peak, that trough, that lower peak and the lower trough, at this stage, it seems to be shorting the resistances. Now, if you're feeling bullish, the problem is going to be very difficult to feel bullish for a continuation. That's why you've got to feel, be more like fast and nimble at this point. If rallies occur, which we knew, into the resistance, and even if a rally occurs again, how it reacts with this point is going to be important. Now, if it rallies through this point, what do you think, chat? What's the chat think if the Nasdaq, let's say the Nasdaq rallied, went up, broke 14,260. So we break that 14,260 and we close at, I don't know, 14,310. What do you think the next movement here is for something like the Nasdaq? Let's find out what the chat would consider about that. Michael says another stop loss to the upside, then short 4,300 this week SPY. Okay, fair enough, Michael. 10-year yield, bearish RSI, divergence, possible evening star. Okay, I understand what you're saying there, Ed Money, for sure. And Lucian says, Tom, what's the difference between the NDX and the NDQ? Shouldn't be any difference. It's just we're using the real market. Usually, this is just a CFD of it, but I want to know what the market did during the trade hours. Of course, you can use QQQ. It doesn't really matter. The QQQ is the ETF. That is the exchange traded fund. Trooper says, wish I was confident on where it's going to go. So sometimes you become incredibly confident and you find really great points, Trooper, and sometimes you don't. And that's why you've got to understand a few things. Rotation is something that you really understand. If you want to find out more, I'd really suggest you go into our private streams and obviously mentoring. Rotation is key, guys. I stress it. 2022 should have proven it to you by now that if you know where the money flow is going, you go and you target that money flow instead of just sitting on the technology all the time. Technology is great investment. Don't get me wrong. I love it very much, but that's really where it sits. People say that if it broke that range, they'd be pushing about 14.5. Yeah, I think 14.6 might even actually be the next level. So that is if you break the range down here, you move towards 14.6, and that becomes quite probable. So at this stage, we're rallying into the open. We're only down 0.28 on the Nasdaq, only down 0.23 on the US500. We've got a little bit less than, 50-ish minutes to go. So not too long now until we find out where it wants to open. I would say we open very close to the lows situated last Thursday in the markets. It's mostly up to the US. The US is the market that's open here today. And this is the one that will probably predetermine what occurs. Now, if you open straight on the level and we get something like this and it rallies down, it buys straight back up, and we get something like a bullish hammer. Remember, guys, if you trade bullish hammers or you trade these types of pins off support because you're trying to go against the current trend, that is a series of lower peaks and lower troughs, you need to wait for it to follow through. So effectively, we want to have the follow through whenever possible on these types of trades. If you're feeling bearish and it opens right on the support, generally, if it will go bearish, it'll come back and retest throughout the day and then short back off. So you usually get a chance to make a better informed decision. You're either looking for that kind of open around, false rally down, pick up. You can be more reactive. Or if it does go down, closes below, rallies back up, generally you'll have a better short. But opening around the close makes a lot of sense. And I thought that even today when we were recording. Alexandre Mongan says, sell it every day and go away. Well, let's have a quick look, actually, if that makes sense. So let me bring up some sentiment reports. And specifically, we'll look at the SP 500. And we'll see what generally people are doing with CFDs. That's contracts for difference. Let's have a look what they're doing. So 58% of people currently long still in the sentiment report. Let me have a look at another sentiment report for you guys. Yeah, 58% long on US 500, 50-50 on the Dow, the German 40, that is the DAX, 58% long, 42% short. FTSE, 81% short, 19% long. I tell you, it's funny how people do that. Let's have a quick look at the UK 100. So there's 81% of people are short this. And if you can guess straight away, if you want to type it in, of course, you would know that that means it's probably going up. Remember, what the retail traders do tends to be wrong. So I don't know why you would be heavily short the FTSE. Would anyone here be heavily short the FTSE? Is that a mistake? Welcome to the 424 new viewers as well. Thank you very much for joining us here today. Any opinion on ARK-K, please? We'll certainly check it out very, very soon. And Kevin N says, I got out of 95% of my tech stocks 2 months ago, but I think what's going on now is an overreaction. Interest rates won't have as big of impact on tech, especially big tech, as many say. Well, I've always said that, Kevin. I've always said that these types of things have an impact, but it comes down to, can you even get finance and are they even profitable or not? I mean, think about it. Let's just step back here for a second, discuss Microsoft, okay? Does Microsoft really worry about higher interest rates? Let's ask the chat. Chat, does Microsoft care about higher interest rates? What do you think? Yes, no, yes. But here's the thing, Kevin. It's not so much about, everybody here wants to be a trader and an investor. I'm sure you want to be both. Why not? But remember, trading and investing are different. Do not trade companies you love. I love this company. Does it mean it's the best company in the world? Well, to me, it has one of the highest moats. That is, it's very difficult to beat them. Is it a good trade for me then? The answer is probably no, because I have a bias. Remember, bias is bad, guys. Bias is bad. Microsoft has a head and shoulders pattern. Yes. So here is your head and shoulders pattern that he's talking about. Left, head, right. That's the left shoulder, head, right shoulder. So if you have clarity coming into these markets and you say, okay, does interest rates really hurt a company like this? Microsoft. Let's say Microsoft breaks through. Let's believe this is the head and shoulders and it shorts off back down to where it would probably go, which must be, I must think that there's something down there for some reason. So let's have a look. Let's get that trend line out. Bang, take the distance. Yeah, it pretty much comes down to that. Let's have a look at that on a weekly. Get rid of the drawing here for you guys. Okay, so that's just previous kind of consolidation. 200 weekly would be coming with it. So I think the question an investor asks themselves is, let's just say this is a head and shoulders and it does break underneath this and the market starts to tank. Let's just say that occurs. Are you at support right now? I think, yes, you are. Where does everything change? Obviously, you break through this just below 320. I mean, it becomes incredibly long. But if it comes down here, your clarity is pretty key. If you're buying high quality, big blue chip companies that are in tech, even if rates were at 3.5%, Microsoft isn't not going to make money. But the problem is probably the ratio. Okay, so you need cheaper ratio. If you were thinking about investing in these types of stocks, yeah, I mean, it's all down to ratio. US 2-year 2.462, US 10-year, which actually often the market is very sensitive to, 2.8. Where's the US 10-year likely to tap out? Somewhere around 3%. Around 3% is where the US 10-year is likely to tap out. That's a good resistance. It's a resistance that's been formed in 13, in 18, and now. Remember, and this is something I want to bring back. Yes, okay, we're higher in the market. Yes, okay, all of these things. But remember, only a few years ago, the US 10-year was here. Then we went through the pandemic, and now the Nasdaq is much higher. What's the Nasdaq actually trading at percentage-wise? So percentage over the top here of 18. Guess we'll go into March. So should we go here? No, I think we'll go before that. So we'll go before that. We'll go over here. So it's trading at a 78% premium. That's the big problem that people are getting. And we all know this. Obviously, we see it. So don't trade what you love, trade what is giving you the best opportunity. And speaking of so, let's have a look at gold. And again, gold is not necessarily the best investment at all times. Certainly is not. It is not necessarily even an investment itself. It's more of a currency. I always argue about this. So supports here. Well, I want to ask the chat a question here about gold. Is gold an inflation hedge? What do you think? Is gold actually an inflation hedge? Russell Waite says buying Microsoft at 212. Yes, please. Denial phase Bitcoin says multiples will contract. We have some good discussion to talk about on Bitcoin today. I think we'll enjoy it. So thank you again for the 530 people joining us here for the open. Make sure to smash that like button. We have plenty to discuss and plenty to go through. So we spoke about gold at this point. We went bullish on gold at this point. This is a very clear, very replicatable, very good concept trade. It's very good, and it has all of the right things. A little bit of a flag, beautiful tweezer leading in, nice breakout, new highs, higher lows, fantastic. Gold from all encompassing points, obviously it's about to hit 2,000, looks okay. Now, we've already talked about where we also suspected it might go to, 61.8 fib, almost there right now. So between this, I'm not saying this is the greatest trade in the world anymore, but it was, and you can go back and look at the channel. We've been very consistent here. Clear trade, guys. I know that it's not fun. It's not your favorite stock, but it's a clear trade. US oil, another one that broke out last week, 12th of April. Breakout occurs. Huge supports, huge resistances, a clearer trade than the market itself. New peak, it gets formed. Well, maybe there's some action there. You can obviously look at a few different oils because some of the oils may not be trading right now. So we say use WTI. There we go. Again, clear trade, quality level, nice series of higher highs, higher lows. Think about XME, metals and mining. Nice series of higher highs, higher lows, equal low, equal high, breakout. These are where you want to follow. Follow the money, everyone. I cannot stress it so much because I really, really want people to learn this idea and this concept. And no one talks about it on YouTube, or at least, I don't know. Does anyone else actually talk about rotation and money flow? It's because it doesn't get views. If you talk about reality, it doesn't get views. I understand that. But does anyone actually talk about this? I don't even know. Ray Lim says Bitcoin moves the same direction as the US indices. Bitcoin's a risk-on asset, okay? If risk-on is there, Bitcoin will do well. But I did make a video today about it, so thanks very much for bearing with me over the weekend. And I think this is worthwhile considering in the back of your mind. Bitcoin's hard to get edge on, okay, everyone? Like, Bitcoin's great, and don't get me wrong. I always prospect to this idea. Winners take all. Ask yourself this question with something like Bitcoin. And this goes for companies as well. Let's say you have Microsoft, and Microsoft is a big company, or an Apple. Let's say Microsoft has competition. That competition's in the cybersecurity space. Very good competition. They become worth $100 billion. They're a serious contender with Microsoft. What is Microsoft most likely going to do in that circumstance? They want to be the leaders in cybersecurity. They see it as the future, rightfully so. Very important. Most, let's call it, wars will probably be faced on the cyber. There'll be 30 to 60% cybersecurity fighting, trying to cripple each other's economies. That's what it'll all be about. So what would you do if you had competition like this and you would be big? Darth Vader, getting it correct straight away. Try to buy them. Exactly. So you've got to think about it also in the crypto world. Why is Bitcoin so important? It's the S&P 500. Let's call it that. Or it's the Nasdaq. I don't care. It's an index of some kind. In essence, ask yourself, every single time when the crypto market improves, which coin improves first? Chat, I want you to figure that out for me right now. Let's read some of these things. You guys have got big brains. It's all good. Pedro says, Tom, why did Apple drop 3% on the session? I can't tell you exactly why it dropped 3% in particular, but it's dropping because the US 10-year rate continues to go up. and it is a risk off market at this stage. It's all about multiples, and they feel like playing funny buggers with us for now. Until we see that change, that peak, that trough, that higher peak, it's going to be hard for us to buy Nasdaq without being nimble and being fast. Mohammed Al-Masari, BitConnect. BitConnect. I love that dude, man. Carlos, or whatever his name was. He was cool. He didn't deserve the hate. He was just trying to, just trying to get people into the BitConnect movement. Lucian says SHIB moves first. You're probably not wrong. It kind of does move. But generally, it is Bitcoin that goes first, and then it will be Ethereum and the others. That's right. So pretty big there. And here's Andre's one: BTC, then ETH, then altcoin market. Yes, the consistency. So I bring this chart up for one reason. Even if you're not interested in Bitcoin, hear me out here. I have a feeling based on this, let's just say this market plays out the thing we think, which may be that 2022 is, or at least part of 2022 is not that great for risk. Okay, so we continue to sideways, rally, decline, whatever. If crypto goes the way of the dodo, as in it does decline like it did in 16, like it did in the combo meal deal, and it did to a degree in 12, we could be in the crypto winter right now, which just bottoms out at around that 900 to 950, maybe 1,000 days after the halving. If you see crypto on its lows and it starts to do Wyckoff accumulation, or it starts to do some kind of support accumulation, keep it in the back of your mind. What tends to happen after that? If you're looking to hodl these things, you know that in the future, there'll be another Bitcoin halving event. And remember, people in crypto don't look past 2 weeks. A lot of people don't look past 2 weeks. I know a lot of you do, but the crazy traders out there don't look past 2 weeks. So if you find that everyone has lost faith in it, the more people that lose faith in crypto, the more faith I get in crypto. Okay? That's how I see it. Remember, buying the blood in the streets is not necessarily bad when you can kind of make sense of the madness. And one stat I'll show you here, Druckenmiller shared this stat, is that it's some astronomical amount of BTC hodlers hodl. That is, they don't sell it. It's like 80 to 90% of the population of Bitcoin holders don't let it go, which creates scarcity. Why? Probably because 40% of it's lost. People can't access it. So there you go. Just keep that in the back of your mind. Just interesting information. And remember, the magical 900 to 1,000 days. Look at this bracket. If it comes to pass, maybe you'll remember. Set a calendar alert. Come back in. Make your own decisions. Obviously, I'm not telling you to do anything in particular. Bernardo says BTC is going to zero. I don't think it's possible anymore. Okay. I understand your concept, and at some point in time, I could have even got behind that idea, but it's not possible anymore. When you let it become a cultural phenomenon, it cannot go to zero. It has an inherent value. I'm sorry about that. It just does. Mohammed says, Tom, don't you think the US 10-year breaking out of a 2-decade-long downtrend is concerning for the long-term valuations of stocks? Well, of course it is concerning, but if you go and you load up, let's say, the US 10-year over time, and this is what you're talking about. So you're talking about this massive downtrend kind of line here. Okay, so are we going to curve fit this? Okay, let's say we do log. That's not going to work. So we'll just use regular. And how are you defining it's been stuck or it's not, or it's broken out? So here, how are we drawing this trend line? Are we going to curve it to here? Well, it broke last time in 18. Okay. I don't like it when people come up with concepts where it already broke. Where's the trend line that you can show me where it didn't break once before? It has value, but yes, it is risk on, risk off as an asset. So how do we define, everyone, that we have a downward trend US 10-year maybe I should make a video where I claim it is. But we have a downward trend. Does anyone draw a trend line that actually doesn't have this breaking in it? Maybe you do. Someone tell me. Do you not? This area here, this is the monthly. So we got lower peak, lower peak, lower peak, all the way down, and then it breached in 18. Is the US 10-year incredibly important? Well, Buffett says that it's the most important indicator he watches. I wonder why. It is important. I agree with Buffett. Very important. US 10-year gives you edge in the markets once you understand it. However, resistances are being met soon at 3%. And I don't fall into the line of the downward trend line because what is this? Let me put an exclamation mark there. What the hell is that? Now he says log, change it to log. Okay. All right. We can do that. So let's change it to log now. And let's bring that through. Okay. So wait a second. Did log break? The answer is no. I'm sorry to labor it, but you know what I mean? Like, what kind of, a false break, or it's a break, or it came out, or whatever. We can't be sure that kind of proves that we don't know whether it's concerning or not. Ask yourself this question every single time. Can you use that bit of information to replicate, or is it giving you edge in the market? If I draw a line like this and say, it broke out, well, what about all these other ones? I suddenly ignore those? That's called curve fitting. Maybe we don't want to do that. Darren Jones, $10. Thank you very much, Darren. Tom, do you think the IDXX is overvalued? IDXX. We'll have a look for you now, Darren. So let's do that. By the way, sorry about the watermark, guys. I'll just quickly grab that one on there. There you go. IDXX, is it overvalued? Well, overvalued, it assumes that I understand what it fundamentally is worth. Okay. So that's something I don't. Did it rally? Absolutely. $41 billion. What's the general gist on it? 1 second, guys. I'll just quickly grab this. Macro. Have a look whether it's over. Grabbing this, IDXX. All right, so the PE ratio, bring this on. The PE ratio right now, well, the EPS has obviously gone down after being growth. So it's stagnated, I would say, the last kind of 2 to 3 earnings. Not really very good. PE ratio down to 57, which is the same price that was over here in 18. So I guess that's valid. And then PS ratios here back down to 13.39. So is it overvalued based on previous prices? The answer is yes. Let's have a look at the price action. Oof. Whoa. Oh, God. Sorry, guys. That gives me the shivers. That's a shiver kind of trade. Look, here's the issue. Okay. It's declining already. You look at this, and at this stage, it looks negative. It's like it's getting ready for another move down. Could it all reverse? Absolutely. But it must get through here. At this stage, if you keep breaking this down, you go to a daily, you put in the trend line here, which you will have. You are on mission critical. Mission critical, Darren. Mission critical. So people asked before whether they think gold is inflationary or not. The answer generally is no. Okay. Is it good versus stagflation? The answer is generally yes. Okay. Proven to be good versus stagflation, not proven to be good versus inflation, unless you can find me a chart that says so. I'll challenge you. You can go and look for it. What website do you look at the valuations? I was using Macro Trends then. So some free ones. If you guys want to get a bit of free value, remember, click the like button if you find value in this stuff. You want Coil. Very good. Okay, guys, free. I don't make it. I'm not affiliated with them. Fantastic. What trading software am I using right now? TradingView. I recommend it for charting. Not necessarily trading, but charting. I like to have that kind of separation between the trading and the charting. So that's TradingView. Click the link in the wherever it is description if you want to help me out. If you ever do buy a pro version, you don't have to. Then we've got Macro Trends. Very good. So Macro Trends, very good freebie. Obviously do use FinViz a lot for the videos. But, you know, that's a good little combo deal. And of course, join our Discord, free Discord. Great for the open. Some very smart traders in there, often scalping around the open, knowing what's going on. So yeah, they've been with us for a long time. They understand the traps and they tend to do a good job together at breaking through the crap. So let's go over here to the pre-market. Let's have a look at what's down and what's up. So what's down? Kind of the hyper stock. Shopify not down as much as it was, 1.11%. Obviously, that's in a split at the moment. Should theoretically do better than others, but yeah, it is what it is. We've got Baidu, we've got Qualcomm, so a semiconductor in there. Bit of a smattering of all sorts of things, but there are some hyper stocks and semiconductors on the red. It looks like Goldman was there as well. On the green, we've got Biogen, Toyota, Equinix, everything else. All this stuff. Tesla up 0.2. Speaking of Tesla, unlikely it's going to fall too much leading into, of course, big earnings. Let's zoom this in for you guys. Look at this. Look at these earnings coming through here. Tesla after the close Wednesday. Tuesday, Netflix after the close. The first big tech, I believe, is going to be Netflix. Now, that drove Q4. So Q4, a lot of the crap kind of came out with Netflix. Then we got IBM, the behemoth, Interactive Brokers, others. Tesla then after the close Wednesday. Interesting. That'll be a big one. They may hit. Let's find out. And then we have Snap, one of the best, or not one of the best. I don't like Snap, but one of the few social media companies. We also got an American Airlines Group. Obviously, we've been looking at jets. Might check out that soon. American Express coming out as well, SAP. So there are some big names through the earnings. We start off here, obviously, with Bank of America early. So it's going to be a big week from that. Let's have a look at jets here before we go into ARC, before we go into the rest of the market. Remember, we do still feel that there's a chance this market will try to rally into the open. The open is now 25 minutes away, guys. 0.24 down US 500. US 100 now, interestingly, overtaking. Look at that, little bit more risk here. Just slightly above the US 500 now. Now they're equal. But that's interesting. It was well behind before. Now it's kind of in lockstep. Look at that. So jets. Now this trade has been incredibly difficult. That is the travel trade. Many people have failed to call the travel trade ever since 2020. I have a feeling it's coming up. Now, that's a feeling, but it's based on not illogical concepts. And I believe the Russia-Ukraine thing put a halt on it for a period. I think we were going to break over here. And we failed to do so. And we've got a Max Payne kind of concept that's come in here. And now we're going towards potential victory. That is it moving through. And it will go against what a lot of people believe, which also makes it usually quite good. So jets is one to watch over the next couple of weeks. Doesn't mean go trade this, but it does mean look to your travel plays. See whether any of those are starting to improve. Maybe they are. Remember, thinking outside the box is what really does help us out here in these trades. Do you guys like that, by the way? I want to know. 684 of you, thank you very much for joining us here on the Monday. Do you guys prefer the way that we talk about things, going through this concept of what I kind of want to show you? Or do you prefer just me answering all your questions about technology most of the time? I don't mind. I'll do whatever you guys like because we're all about, making sure that it works for everyone. Thank you very much, Monica. Appreciate you. Andrew says, just buy Bitcoin and go to bed. In the end, it will be the real flight to safety. Ooh, I'm not sure about that one, but okay, fair enough. I understand you're saying the system's going to break. Never bet against the US dollar, though, sir. Remember, the USD is the linchpin of the market right now. Whoever has the major is a winner. They are winners, guys. US is the winner. Why do we like the US market? Because it has the US dollar. And if you want to prove that concept, think about what happened with Europe recently. Money flew away from Europe and it came over here to the USD and it said, hey, what's up? The USD said, oh, I'm pretty liquid. Would you like to buy a lot of me? And they said, yes, we do. Yes, we do. Appreciate that. Very good. Thanks, Stacy. And DC says, I prefer you take over rather than driven by the tech-focused requests. Yeah, cool. All right, well, that's good. Let's go through the day plan here. So I do agree that tech was maybe a little oversold, a little bit zealously attacked last week. And if we do open on the support, there could be that real case of maybe we stick within this trap here. Let me quickly just grab up a few indicators that I'm going to look at before the market opens, see if we can gain any insights into what other traders are thinking here. Okay, so bond trade is pretty flat into the open, so they don't really have too much opinion, certainly not negative into the open. And risk on sentiment seems to be slightly geared towards risk on today, at least into the open so far. Copper traders are bullish on today, which is interesting. So I guess you would say it's neutral, even though the market's showing a negative. It's neutral to slightly up is how they're feeling. I want to chart you guys, though. Let's see what everybody else is thinking in the chat. We love to chart the chat here. So we've got 21 minutes till we open. And let's have a quick look, and then we'll go through some really nice setups. If you have a great setup, I mean great setup, share it with us now in the chat. I will look at them. I want good setups though, guys, not crap. That is good support, good accumulation, those types of things. It does help us out if we can ever find some of those. All right, let's do this poll. Poll sucks, the stupid thing. Okay, here we go. All right, there's the poll. Make sure you do that. It does help us out to figure out what you guys think. All right, we got some stocks coming in here. It looks like a lot of them are based on bio. So here's a Moderna. Inverse head and shoulders is the discussion point. Let's have a quick look at it. I get what you're saying. So we've got that long leg doji bullishness. We've moved back down. This is the weekly, just so we get a bit of a live land. Obviously sold heavily off where we used to be over here. So we sold heavily off. Bio very susceptible to the 10-year. You do need to remember that. So there's a few things I like. Number one, I like that a lot. We bullishly closed in the session. So think about the last couple of days of trade. It's been mostly down in the Nasdaq. Let's compare it here. So let's put the NDX against it. Okay, what's the NDX been doing? So it's been down. Yeah. This has been down, but then it suddenly went bullish while the Nasdaq's gone down more. That's strange. This is meant to be a risk-off kind of asset, so it is holding a lot better. We break and close above this rejection candle. We are certainly looking like we're in a potential inverse head and shoulders. Obviously, the accumulation here and here and here. Is the volume high? Not really. 180 plus. I mean, I could see it. If you get these type of location here, though, I would say it's more of a scale in. What are some other ones here that we've got? ASX Web from SC. I won't look at that right now, but thank you, SC. Appreciate bringing ASX stock in. Michael says that inverse head and shoulders in the US 500 is so V. Bernardo says, I'm going to go all in on daily SPY calls. Be careful, sir. And Craig says, biotech season, Labu. So yes, historically, it's been a pretty good biotech season this period of time. Labu not showing us it, though. IBB, it gave it its best shot. IBB tried and currently is failing to pull through. So I think the biotech sector, it's not on right now, but it could certainly be on the watch list moving forward here. It's just not through the right resistances. Someone mentioned before, what do you think about ARK-K? So let's have a look at ARK-K. I mean, frankly, it looks terrible still, unfortunately. You got that first glimmer of hope. That was around here. Things were starting to look good, and then bam, straight back down. So you really need it to get through here to show you the full flight to the market. It's just looks sick. And I think the problem with Arcade, it has some horror companies in it. You know I hate Roku. I really hate this stock. I mean, maybe it'll come good one day, guys, but my God, it's been an absolute horror show. Zoom, very little moat kind of company, pretty terrible. And I think a lot of the ARK picks outside of Tesla have just not been working. The hyper stocks have been, frankly, some of the worst in terms of what's happened to them. BAC thoughts. So Bank of America had earnings this morning. I'm pretty sure it had earnings. Was it this morning? Or has it come out yet? BAC, like all these banks, pretty sick on the charts. It's on SUP, but it did break through. Check out JP. So if you actually look at JP Morgan, the financials, I mean, they look really, really gross. If you were trading this towards the short here, you might have got a bit freaked out. But I guess I can understand why. I mean, that is a Wyckoff distribution. Okay, there's no doubt in my mind. That has all the hallmarks of the Wyckoff distribution. The buyer's climax, the upward thrust, the second kind of push towards, trapping. And then it has that rally that cuts all the short sellers out and then pushes down. Kind of worrying chart, old JP Morgan, but hard to short the markets. Just over 15 minutes to get into the open here. Only 0.2 down on the US500. Let's see if that can come up. We're hoping it can come up. At the start of the stream, we were going bullish. Today, I've talked about it in the video. I had a feeling we might try to open around where we closed. The fake market futures have nothing to go off in terms of market opens except for the US. It's all about the US today. The US gets to pick. Kim says, FX Evolution, check out OIH and PXJ. So companies that no one probably has thought about too much here. So we've got Invesco Dynamic Oil and Gas. Really nice breakout here a few weeks ago. Nice breakout there. Just shows you again, if you're looking outside of the market's normal sphere, you're doing pretty well. Good one. What's the other one here? That was PXJ. Let's go OIH. That is Vanak Oil Services. Really decent one, actually, going back for a new breakout here in this stock. Now, check out that daily. So you get a daily bullish hammer, follow through, nice closure, and a good weekly close as well. Check the weekly close. Oh, very nice. Coming off the tweezer. Yeah. So strong again here from oil stocks going into, I guess, earnings. And then you can drive that down into other stocks in the sector and certainly find some better stuff. Pretty good. Gary says TGT has a good setup. Let's check out that. That's Target Corporation. Yeah, it's got a lightning bolt through it. Nice breakout a few days ago. It's going to be slower than people sometimes hope for because this kind of stock doesn't move heavily a lot of the time. Broke down, false break to the downside. Earnings pulled it back through, which is positive because that means it came off earnings. That was certainly a Max Payne type of scenario, which is really cool. When you see Max Payne, I get more excited about the stock because that means it trapped a lot of people. Remember, being reactive and understanding the dynamics is super important. And yeah, quite a nice little breakout here. It does look relatively strong on that chart. Not too bad. Old TGT, Target. Anyone in America call it Target? I don't think so. We can continue to get closer and closer and closer to the zero marker as we move. 14 minutes now till the market opens. Zoom is zooming into a hole. Yes. How about Ben? I assume, Nikki, you're talking about Bendigo in Australia. Is that right? Or is this Ben in America? Franklin Resources. Oh, well, it better not be that one unless you're looking short. That is an absolute Wyckoff disaster. Look at that upward thrust. Super nasty. Breach below. See, when you start spotting Wyckoffs, you start spotting Wyckoffs everywhere. I will do a Wyckoff video. I know I've said I'm going to do a lot of videos on the channel. I really want to do it. I hope you guys support them if I give out free educational content. Would you guys like that? That is, my opinion on things, more of a practical approach rather than just the BS that you usually hear. What I don't like about technical analysis sometimes is that people use the theory and then they don't talk about how you can actually apply that to reality. Okay. See, the difference between theory and reality is this. In theory, head and shoulders work. Okay. In reality, again, ask yourself the question, would you take this head and shoulders in the stock market or this head and shoulders in the stock market? This one has a high statistical chance of being successful. This one will probably kick your ass most of the time. Why? Because this one goes against the reality of 68% of the time stocks are bullish, or at least the stock market is. This one goes in the favor of the odds. What about the block? Yeah, Square. Oh, it annoys me, this stock, guys. I get pissed off at it, mostly because I feel like if it was a super quality stock and that not Jack Dorsey's sickened twin, then he's got to stop talking about Bitcoin all day and get back into doing some serious business. I mean, buying Afterpay. What the hell was he thinking? So here's Square. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. This is a Wyckoff accumulation in my aspect. Okay. That's how I saw it. That's how I still see it. There's our Max Payne. And here we are sitting here just doing nothing very good. Look, if you have like a longer term approach, I still think it looks all right. Okay. But the problem is that people are impatient and you want instant results. And I get that. And you're not getting it out of this stock at the moment. I would like it above here. I mean, if we got a closure above here, God, I'd feel a lot better. 130. Just give me 130 plus. Okay. Ugh. Hideous thing. Earnings coming up in 17 days. Love to see the Wyckoff video. Yeah, we'll do that soon. DKNG, right on support, I believe, Cody. Well, that was me, Darth. I did that. But let me just quickly fix that one up and give me the love on our channel, okay? Because I'll do it on our channel. Hines says short squeeze on US natural gas. Okay, so let's have a look here at natural gas. Now, is that only US? UN. Okay, let's have a look here. Oh, look at it go. Indeed. Really squeezy. Big volume too. Look at that volume. Ever since September of 21, a lot of trade going through this and big breakout. Up here, 3.36. Very strong. Certainly a different market to be looking at for a lot of people. Pretty aggressive market, but still very cheap on where it used to be. This is the perspective. Look at this. Hello. Now, it's because of what this is. So you got to be careful, yeah? So if you look at natural gas and you trade the CFD for it, let's have a look at natural gas. Very nice breakout. Now, I bought it on the channel a few weeks ago and I thought it might hover here for a few days. So let's have a look how it traded. Rejected, went bullish, long lead doji, bullish close. Obviously, that's bullish. Yeah. So we went bullish, and it's on a run. It's on an epic run right now, natural gas. Where is it in comparison to its history? People forget I was talking to a guy about cars today, and he was telling me, he goes, we were talking about fuel price, and he goes, fuel used to be more expensive. I said, yeah, I know, dude. I know. And he's like, yeah, I don't get that. It's because I said, because people have shallow memories. We forget where things have been. Remember, natural gas in the past has hit some serious targets. $15, still half of what it was. Interesting. Currently, natural gas seems to be running at a very fast rate, and it seems to be following something like a 2-hour 20. Okay, 2-hour 20.50 seems to be where the buy-ups are occurring. You can see it's very consistently purchasing off around that price. Mikhail Sharma 100. Not sure what that symbol is. Hi, Tom. Can you please check my stock HDFC Limited, not HDFC Bank? Okay, well, thank you very much for telling me what you're looking at. HDFC Limited. It's in India, not the bank. God, there's a lot of codes here. Is it this one? Dave, could you figure out which one it is and send it to me? I don't know which one it is. Mutual fund, futures, asset management. Lots of different ones there. Dave will send it to me in a second. Sean says, Tom, I would like to ask a question about an option strategy that's been on my mind for a bit. What do you think about buying 100 shares of a stock on margin and immediately selling a short-term in-the-money option? So a covered call is what you're saying, Sean. Buying 100 shares, selling a cover. So is in selling a call, I guess, against that. Yeah, I mean, dude, I do covered calls all day long. It's what I built my reputation on in investment, really. Covered calls is my jam. You can find really good supports and do it. But obviously, if you're buying them with margin, you put yourself at risk there. Market's still 0.2% down 6 minutes. So we'll come back to Carl's one. Dave will send it through. Samuel says, I was literally wrecked following the statistics. Well, I'm sorry about that. Oh, okay. Samuel's not happy. He says, you've been wrong on your calls lately. So we're talking about statistics here. The day before Good Friday was going to be green according to your statistics. The fact is it was not. Does it change your overall view going for? Look, statistics are only one thing, man. If you don't see the technical analysis coming with it, that is first and foremost, TA is the biggest thing, okay? It is the biggest thing. If the stats are coming with your TA, it gives you a little bit more confidence to hold. Statistics alone are not viable, man. They're just not. If you saw on Thursday last week, if you saw it go bullish and it broke through that resistance, would you have more confidence in that move? The answer is yes. If you don't want to use stats, fair enough. But yeah, statistics are just something I have to bring into it. It's part of the way that I rotate. So yeah, I get your point. And it's a shame, but it is what it is. Just the stock HDFC. All right, I'll just put this in. Housing Development Finance. If this is it, it unfortunately looks pretty bad. And anything in housing development like this is probably not going to do well in inflation. Finance, rental, leasing. I mean, that stock looks really bad. We're about 4 minutes off. I mean, this is a horror. This is not good. This is not good. At this stage, coming into earnings, the market's giving you a precursor of negative feelings. Yeah. So I understand people get very annoyed at stats. I'm not going to change bringing stats in. It's something I personally do look at. You don't have to do it. But yeah, unfortunately, it's something I use, man. I use stats along with TA, but never lose sight of this. Number one is TA. Number two would be the other stuff. So this unfortunately doesn't look too healthy. If you're shorting it, you're probably feeling pretty good. So leading into this market, 4 minutes till the open. Let's see what's down. So again, semiconductors down. Some of the growthy kind of stocks down. Apple down 0.75. So everything's down a little bit here in the tech side. Biogen, BNTX, so that is bio in general, is up. 3M is up. Tesla is 0.25. We'll take a look at that in a second. So it seems like it's a mixture. I'll give you a bit of a lead here on what the general people think. Flat as attack from bond guys. XLI is here. The risk on, pretty much slightly geared towards risk on, but very slight. So not much edge into the Monday in terms of clarity from other people trading. We are going to move into a market where it's going to test, it looks like, underneath current price or where it closed. We're 3 minutes off the open. Unless a miracle happens, it may not go straight into it. So that is 0.26 currently down. Let's now load up both and we'll look at them side by side. So we've got US500 and we'll put US100 onto the chart. Bring that in, settings that up, 28. Okay, let's get that down to a 15-minute. I'll answer that other question just one more time as well. So someone said about the stats being wrong. You've got to think about what sector you're in as well. If you are in the wrong sector, you're thinking just tech, man. Tech was down. Does that mean all sectors were down? No. So, yeah. If tech was down, sure. You got to think of the market more than just tech, though. Tech is more of an investment kind of concept. Twitter declared div of one right for each outstanding share. This is hodl fast. The Twitter stuff becomes more and more convoluted by the day. As soon as I heard Elon Musk was trying to buy it, I knew he'd probably most likely sell all this stock, take the profit. So here we go. Resistance sitting at about 43.88. Obviously, close point was previously very close to that. We've seen supports a lot of the time. So we're testing it from the bottom up here. In terms of futures, we've had support, 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 support. We're testing it as resistance leading into the open. Very similar on the Nasdaq. Nasdaq seems to have stopped at 13,870 and we're at that resistance. So we're going to find out very soon how it wants to react with that. Resistance, resistance at this stage. Breach above could lead on to the buying for the day. At this point, we've rallied through the session. Remember, we were very far down. And here we go. We're about to open, guys. Tesla opening 0.5% here up. Okay. So Tesla holding into earnings now 0.7. Monday, good day for Tesla. Market's now open, 0.18 for S&P, 0.21 for the US Nasdaq. So we're getting very close to flat almost immediately here. 0.13, 0.11. Okay, here we go. There we go, flat. We're flat. Flat, flat, flat. All right, good. I'm happy we hit the flatness. Thank God. They were about to prove me wrong on that one. Yeah, that would have been bad. Thanks very much to 852 people viewing. I appreciate it. Andre says, well, statistics are stats. We're wrong part of the time. Exactly. You play stats with your TA, okay? You play them together. Stats don't always work. Boris says, so don't tap the tank, Tom. Let the fish feed the sharks. There we go. So market's now flat. I'll tell you what everybody else is thinking. Slight risk on here at the early start of the day. Can't tell you that bond traders are that happy with the current market conditions. They're not. They're kind of just a bit down actually now. They're a bit sad. Not strongly sad, but a little bit sad. And metals are slightly optimistic. So we're rallying here early. We're now flat. Percentage change. Biogen, Tesla, 1%. Amazon up 0.7. Interesting. American Express, earnings this Friday. Google, so you can see that risk on kind of coming through here. Again, that's the ones that are up. Bit of a mix match of different. Target, there's Target up 0.3%. One that we looked at just before from a setup perspective. Nice. All right, let's have a look at the 1 hour. Actually, let's get off these. Look at the SPX more importantly. So it's an instant rally off that low. Buying into the open. Let's go to the NDX. Slightly underneath where it closed. Open slightly underneath. Remember, S&P 500 gives you the best technicals over the Nasdaq. Which one would you trust? Do you trust the 500 companies or do you trust just the tech and the high risk or the riskier? The answer is always this one. This one gives you better technical analysis, yeah? More clarity over here. And you'll hear me use clarity a lot because I think it's pretty important. Dave's doing well with gold yen. Yep, absolutely. Gold yen was a great trade, man. So we've got this risk on here. Early part of the session, Monday. Remember, the markets were down 1% before. If we do end up getting epic rallies and thing epically rallies for the session, remember the resistances will be up here. And for you to be very bullish and not nimble and fast, you need it to break through this point. Things become very clear once you break through this point, if we can. Break, close above here, clarity. Very good. Right here, more of just trying to buy that dip. But at least you're buying the dip on a good support. Rejection incoming, says Gary. Sure. And Andrew says something that I think a few people are saying. It's time for a nice green day running for the bulls. Well, let's see what everybody said leading into today. So 55% of you were bullish and 45% of you were bearish. We'll finish the poll there. You know, the chat's been very correct. Did you know this, guys? The chat has been, since we've run the poll, the chat has been correct 100% of the time on 3 polls. Did you know that? Relying on stats like they are prophecy equals noob move. Stats simply give us the odds, not the predictions. Yeah, it's fair, John. But, John, would you agree that maybe it's okay to have stats as part of your arsenal if the TA gives you, let's say, the prediction? And then we can potentially add that on with some good odds. Urban Elemental says 100% of 3 rolling on the floor laughing. Yeah, well, anyway, that's what they've been. I'm just telling you. We've got a big sample size in the stats here. That's funny. $77 says chat is smarter than the average bear. There we go. Exactly. Yeah. Look, again, I get it. No, it's sad when the stat's wrong. You don't feel good about it. But unfortunately, you have to have the trigger to allow you to get in. So here we are into the market open and we're kind of green. We were 0.4% down at the start of the stream. Now we're suddenly 0.17 up on the US500 and 0.1 up on the US100. So I guess that's a decent move in the pre-market. How do we go from here? Oh, if I was a nasty bear, I'd probably try to hold it up here. We do need to remember where max pain is. Even this week, where are we here? Where are we here? Let's refresh this for a second. maxpain.com dash. Don't know I don't know what comes up if you search maxpain.com. But Max Pain currently sitting for the expiry here of today. That is today's expiry for some reason. 441. Interesting. For the 20th, 443. And currently for the 22nd, that is Friday, 447. So if we go back over to the SPY, where are we? Okay. We're underneath that right now. So maybe they want to get a little bit greedy so they can take some people's money. SCT Flash at 379 says there's the sell-off. Don't see it yet, so maybe you're behind 2 minutes. And Eli says S&P 500 will get rejected by the 15-minute 200 SMA in the next few minutes. All right, so we're going down to the US 500. Here's the rejection he's talking about, 44.20-ish or 18. So basically right on, can't use that anymore, by the way, because our horizontals become, remember, don't use, just because you have like a trend line that's going through the last couple of ones, you still need to marry your trend lines up. So that is a trend line with your horizontal. So if you do take it, scale in and then take the bigger portion once you get through your horizontal. Bit of a tip there for everyone. So that's where you're mentioning, I guess, the problem might be. That's about 44.20. Technically, they would love a 44.30 for max pain. So maybe I'll start labeling them up so you can see where max pain is in comparison. That would be a nice close for them today. No worries, Irving. Appreciate that. Chris Smith says, stats say TGT target pronounced Target adds 9% to the stock price. Hey, if I was Elon Musk and I bought 10% of Target, imagine how much it would go up. Imagine how good. Dave says, Monday statistically more likely to be green than red. Not by much, though, I don't think. Is that right? Dark Gale TV says, any opportunities in China stock, Shanghai lockdown? Oh, I've been thinking about this idea, yeah. So if you come over to the CQQ, that is the China QQQ, it actually just hit a level I've been watching. And that is, remember, we go back a few weeks ago, market's tanking. Oh, hey, guys, we'll so support the market. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry, okay? We'll push that up. It's okay. They don't really tell you what they're going to do, so then it drags back down. But don't worry, guys. We got you. We got you. It reminds me of last time when they did this, and they kind of didn't do anything for a while, and then they did support it, and it boomed it. So, yeah, we do need to remember that it's not so much how I look at this market right now is it's dangerous. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's very dangerous, but it's right around the right zone. So if you like it for whatever reason, it's right around that area. And you can go and look at stocks like, let's say, Barber. Not that I like Barber in particular. I'd rather basket it if I was taking it. US 100 now down. So just reversed. So, yeah, I would rather basket it if I was going to take anything. Remember, look at this downward trend. Not going to get me again, Nasty Barber. Nasty Barber attacked me here, guys. It got me good. I remember I got in here. I'm not going to say I didn't. I got in here and then I got stopped here. And I said, no more of this pegged market BS that I don't understand. And the reason I don't understand it is this. A company does well in China. What's going to happen? Government says, oh, that's a bad company. You have too much power. Crush them. So really the problem is that you can't do well. You can only really invest in small cap and mid cap until it does well. And then you've got to question the fact of, well, wait a second, will this be a good investment anymore? Let's check this out anyway, because this market's tanking again. So we need to go have a look. Okay, was this all a trap? 4 minutes. Look at this. All right. 13.9. So we hit the flat. We went bullish. Do we get a reactive short now? Bank's having a nice rally on BAC earnings, says Chris. We'll bring them both together here. Let's have a quick look at XLF. Yeah, Bank's doing all right. 0.43 together, holding up. Very important close here. We'll stick around for the close. Super interested to see what happens here. Do we get this to go bullish again? Kind of need it for you to remain bullish. Come on now. A little bit bullish. None of this sell-off crap. The bulls need at least one good day, all right? It's been a while. Give them the power. Tesla now flat. Let's have a look at the other stocks. Square down 2.43. Amazon up. Google up. Microsoft up. Barely. Lots of red hyper stocks. Red hyper stock fest. DKNG down 3. Oh, SE down 5.77. Just want to look at that on a chart suddenly. Oh, God. These hypers, seriously. Man, that's a bad day, isn't it? Shop down 3.26. Ugh. And then you look at this. This is a stock I bought up a little while ago. Another stock I bought up. I mean, it's like the tale of two markets. Could it get any more ridiculous? So these are the three stocks I bought up recently. Triple M, NUE, which is Nucor, and DE. And all of them are so much. I mean, this did nothing. Didn't break out either. This did break out. Oh my God, so much better. What is that percentage-wise? It's 10% off the break off here. And we started talking about it here, I think. DE, beautiful accumulation, distribution, into accumulation, into breakout, into pullback. I mean, God help. Look at that. Ridiculous. That's why you got to rotate, guys. You got to get the hell out. When you got to trade the money flow. Don't trade just tech all the time. Please, please, please consider it. Consider it. It will help you out. Xander saying, OIH having a good day. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, Clem knows because he's obviously done master the mentoring and he also has been putting in good effort and is doing well. But he understands the rotation. It's very important. Nice series of higher lows. Breach out a few days ago. Great run. Up 2.3% today. Otherwise, you're sitting here stressed. This is good, by the way, for tech. I know you guys like about tech. That's a good. 1 minute here. 15-minute close. Going bullish is good. That was almost scary there, but remember, it isn't closed yet. Remember, be reactive. Don't be predictive in your little... How many times have you come in, you look at something like this, and it looks like that, and you think, oh, I'm going to short it. And then 20 seconds later, it's filled into the top. Or the opposite way around. How's BTC? BTC down 0.75, 39.38. If you bring it on a chart, it's just sitting. All right, there we go. So it looks a bit sick, but it's trying its best to rally back up. It fell to 38.5. Now back to 39.4. US 100 15-minute close doesn't go bearish. I know it's down, but it didn't go bearish. US500 now 0.21 was 0.3 plus. And BTC is holding, it's hodling on for dear life at the moment. Mikhail Sharma's 100. Thank you very much. Thanks, Tom. You're the best. No worries, man. Thank you. Ethereum. How's that going? 2932. Again, kind of sick. They look kind of crap, frankly. I hope they rally and turn around and turn to bullish hammers and we can talk about them in the next video. I really hope so. And then we can rally past 41.5 and feel great about the world. At the moment, yeah, could be better. Market looks better than bloody these things at the moment. Gold is slamming. Look at gold go. Still pretty good. Did it just hit 2K? Oh, 19.98. Just underneath 2K. US oil. I think that's a frozen one. Not trading. Probably that futures. Palladium, nothing much. So again, it's mostly an attack on hyper stocks. Unfortunately, so many of us have these things. Really nasty hyper stock attack. Not many of them look good. It's all the other sectors. And I'll just show you this to finish up here so you guys can see it. A little bit of decline. Let's have a look at that. 1 hour chart. So it's still struggling around this role reversal here. And it's mostly the risk on sentiment. I'll just tell you what the bonds guys are doing. Still the same flatness that they had before. So slightly down on the day they are so far, but not much. Not enough edge there to really write home about. So let's bring this up and just check out how this is all going today. Look at this. So we've got XLE, that is energy doing well, 1.6. We've got gold, 1.05 GDX. We've got metals and mining up 0.9. We've got financials, which we've mentioned. Jets is down, but Jets hasn't broken through yet to the upside, so we don't care about that just yet. IBB currently down. Again, hasn't broken to the upside. Certainly something we're looking at. And tech is flat as a tack. So the money is in all of the same things it's been in. Look at the year to date. Look at the year to date. 48%, guys, in this area. 28% in gold. And a horror show in technology and water. This will turn. Eventually it'll turn. Don't get me wrong. The horror show will turn into the beauty show. But when you're making more money out of utilities than you're making out of half of the market, that's never a good thing. Utilities 7.54. So yeah, these are still the hot commodities. And you can tell that rotation started in Feb. And I'll tell you for a reason. This rotation generally lasts around somewhere about that 1 to 3 months. All right, guys. Well, I think that probably finishes it here. We don't have incredible clear direction. We are on support for the US500. It's not a fantastic trade through the tech this morning, but we are on support for the US500, which is pretty important. The max pain for technically this week is sitting around 447, which is well over the top of where it currently is trading. You'll see it's 430. For today, it's even underneath the current price. So that is, it would theoretically want to go higher if they were going to try to make the maximum amount out of options. And then it would theoretically rally actually throughout the week to get to around a 447 by the end. If we did get to a 447, where is that? It's right on the resistance. So yeah, I think that you probably got more upside potential than downside. If you feel short or you feel unclear, the best thing to do is often just to sit out of the market, get more clarity, get more of your trading system in play. And then what you do is you come back in and you say, okay, well, let's think about this logically. If the market closes underneath here, what's it probably going to do? It's probably going to rally. At that point, is there a high statistical short here? The answer is yes. You don't have to take a lot of trades to do well. You just have to be more statistical on your approach. Do we still have an intact potential downtrend in the real non-false market? Well, think about it. Down, up. Imagine if that's on the trend line. Oh my God, could be a really good trade. So yeah, if you're feeling bearish, that's one way. At this stage, still looks okay. We're trapped in the range. The market opened right on where it's previously been support. That's currently what it looks like. Okay. Some people are saying inverse head and shoulders US 500. Yeah, I get your vision, and one day I'll talk about it. But your vision is here's your left shoulder, here's your head, here's your right shoulder. Are you playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers? Potentially. But to really start to solidify your right shoulder concept, actually make a new peak first. That is, test the lows, make a new peak, and prove that this could be in the way. And then you can start scaling into your concept and feeling better about it. And then as it goes through, you get clarity and you feel really good. And then you're talking about 5,000. I get what you're saying. I don't know who's brought it to your attention, whether it's you or somebody else, but yeah, get a first battle over and done with first. We haven't even done that. Permit Fisher, I'll come fish with you in America one day, sir. Thank you very much for the $1.99. Appreciate it. What platform do you use? I use TradingView for doing the analysis. It's bar none the best. Yeah, for TA. For trading, it depends on the country you're in. and how much money you have. The more money you have, the better the software you can get. But in general, I think retail has amazing software anyway. As long as you can trade the instruments you want, who really cares? Instruments you want at a fair price, who really cares? Gary says, Tom, XLP, XLU, XLV all have mad bearish divergence on them. Okay. Doesn't everything almost have divergence on it, though? When it's going up or down. Matthew says, do you like space stocks? You know the answer to that, Matthew. What a great way to end it, though. No, I don't like space stocks. I think it's too early. And this is a giant piece of crap. There you go. All right. Thanks very much, guys. Enjoy. Oh, yeah. Look at that. What a fantastical stock. My God. It's so good. Where's that guy? He's never come back, by the way. The one that bet with me that the stock was going to $100. And I bet it was going well down over here. Remember that guy? He's left now. But yeah, don't necessarily get in love with the trap. And be careful out there, guys. Be fast and nimble. And remember, if it does start shorting, it generally will rally back up. So that is that it goes short, it rallies, and it gives you another short. Okay. So yeah. And yes, I do know it's falling off here a little bit in the end, but I do need to go. And let's have a look at the 30-minute just to see. Okay, so that's 7 minutes. You'll find out a bit more clarity on whether that was just a boom into whacking everybody for a lot of money later on. Remember, it's the hour of power. This is where retail is. The first hour is often where the trap is set, and I like to actually trade the trap. Could be. Catch everyone. Bye for now.